shouldn't take too long. I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole meeting for May 19th to order. The first item on the agenda is approval of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from April 21st. Does anybody have any modifications, additions to those minutes? Get a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Bright LLC for cloud storage, sponsored by Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
Yes, this is something that we talked about at committee. This is the storage for our body cameras. This is going into contract. It's a renewal. We do have the body cameras. This is the storage that keeps the footage from the body cameras. It's something that is needed and already budgeted.
Any questions or concerns about this item? Okay, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Do you want to place it on the consent agenda?
Sure.
Yeah. Consent.
Okay, next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Montrose Ford for 2 vehicles. This is also Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael?
Yes, this is the 2 vehicles that were budgeted. They're for the police department. They are with Montrose Ford. I have that they are $45,000 apiece, and that's really all. I mean, the one is actually what, 45? Tell me if I'm right, Jake. I've got, I think my numbers are, I have my numbers, I think, mixed up here on my sheet. So the 2 vehicles, I have 45,000 apiece. Yeah, that's about right.
45,600.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sorry, I was looking the way I had my numbers written, and I'm thinking, well, that doesn't add up, so, sorry about that. Anyone have a problem with that?
No, and these are already.
Ready to go.
Money's already allocated.
Yes, there's no extra money that's going to be appropriated for this.
Questions or comments? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Consent?
Yes,
Consent agenda?
Consent.
Okay. Next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Hall Public Safety Upfitters. Ms. Michael?
and this is a contract with, trying to remember what this one was.
I think it's to
This is
outfit the new vehicles,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Is that, yes, that goes along with it. Okay, yes, this is the one, because I had the new city hall with it. I'm thinking, wait a minute, I don't remember moving anything of that going to forward. So yes, this is to upfit the vehicles.
Okay, questions or concerns about this item? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to place this on the consent
Sure.
agenda?
Yes.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to purchase a new ladder engine for the fire department. Ms. Michael?
Yes, and this one, Tammy and the chief both have had a lot of contacts since our last meeting in discussion with the finance. And I told Tammy this was her thing, her job to figure out the finances and what's best for our city. And she came up with some very good options with her experience. And I'm going to go ahead and let Tammy explain this to council.
Yeah, we talked, Mark and I talked for a while with Ray at Sutphen, and the options that he presented at the beginning of this, that in the proposal, were options for prepaying 100%, or prepaying and putting money into an escrow account with Sutphen. I talked to our bond lady at Stiefel and to Portage Community Bank about these options, and looked at some of what we make on our current investments, and it really wasn't making sense to go with their options. And even in talking to Ray, I think Mark can concur, he said they just give you those options. Some people just go with their financing and buy and purchase the trucks. I think that at this time we're better off if we decide to purchase the truck, to go ahead, we do not have to put a down payment on this truck to sign the purchase agreement. They will go into the agreement and start the truck purchase without us putting anything down on that. We do have the purchase agreement. I'm not sure if that was in the packets or not. And then what would happen is in about 22 months or so, about 6 months before the truck was done, we would have to secure the financing. So at that time, we all think our interest rates are going to be going down. We'll be able to get better interest rates, and at that time, we can work with them if we wanted to. We could go back to them if we felt that they were giving us the best option, but we could also go with Portage Community Bank, said they would help us, then we'd be staying local. And we could also go through many options through our bond council. They would help us find the most competitive rates too, just like they would help us with any kind of financing that we were doing. They would even go as far as helping us to do some general obligation bonds if we wanted to do some bonds to help us. Those would be a low-interest bond, and that would be a good option also. So I think it's best if we wait about 20 months or so when if we decide to purchase the truck, and we just wait, and then at that time decide what's best in the finance option.
So the money that, we talked about putting down is not needed. It actually, we would lose money by doing that. We actually can make more money if we kept
If we
that
keep the
money.
here.
Just so I'm clear, because I think I heard you say we could sign the agreement.
Without
It would
any
take
money
2
down.
year- It would take 2 years to build,
Correct.
and then 6 months before delivery, that's when we'd have to pay for it.
We wouldn't have to pay for it until we took possession of the truck. We would
Oh, I
just
thought
have
you
to
said
start
something about 6.
securing, we would want to start looking so that we made sure we had plenty of time to get the financing in
So
place.
part of the
Yeah.
equation could be to continue to save.
Yes,
Until that
absolutely.
point.
But we're getting it at the price that it's asking for
Locking in
now.
that
Do we,
price, right.
do we have, because this quote expired,
We have a new one that's dated May 14th.
is it the same terms?
It is the same.
Okay.
Yes, the same, the first 2 pages of the current one are the same thing. It is,
Okay.
yes, it looks
And
exactly.
just the technicality, I mean, I noticed in here, this isn't actually state bidding prices, this is through Sourcewell, which is, we've talked about Sourcewell, it's
Right.
equivalent. It's not the
Right.
exact same thing, but Sourcewell has got a contract with the state, so they're like an approved state contract. So it is,
Right.
it is,
It is.
well, it's the price that we get through the state,
Yes.
but through Sourcewell, not directly, whatever, okay, anyway, it's the technicality. Other comments about this? I know a couple of
Yeah.
people on your committee had some concerns about the financing. Are you more comfortable now? Or do you still have some reservations?
No, I like that option. I like that we can save the down payment that we were gonna put down, plus
Right.
the additional money that they're saving, we can save for a couple more years, which will help lower the amount of the loan that we need to get, or however we choose to finance it in a couple years, but,
Yeah, and
I like
it does say final completion. Well, it'll be completed in approximately 22 to 26 months, and that's when the receipt of the money will be. They'll start
And-
talking to us about it.
Tammy and Mark did a lot of work this last week, and Tammy really went to bat trying to look at the best option for us. So I just want to say thank you. And this really was a good situation when she talked to me about what to bring to council. And this is her expertise, not mine, not any of ours. And I told her to bring exactly what she did. And, I feel confident in everything she's presented to us.
I like that we're not locked into bad financing conceivably, or at least less optimal. Just like if
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to always just go with whatever dealership is offering you for financing on your own often gets you a better deal. So, nicely done.
Thanks.
did the bond company make any comments that it may affect our rating?
They
know
did
there were some
say,
concerns
currently,
about
she
that.
said there would be no concern with our bond rating. Right now, by the time we get this truck, we're going to be closer to when some of our debt will be dropping off. And it's not like they would immediately, change our ratings just because we bought a fire truck. So she was not, didn't think there would be any problem with that at all.
Other comments or questions? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
I'm going to suggest we not put this on the consent agenda just because it's a pretty high ticket, and we don't have all the details, but we will by June 2nd.
Yeah, we have a new purchase agreement
Yeah.
here, so we'll make sure.
That's really all we need is the agreement. Okay. All right, then, we will move on. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance amending section 660.08, open burning of the codified ordinances. Ms. Michael, this is from your committee?
Yes. The chief had put through changes, and I'm going to go ahead and let the chief go ahead and read. He updated, and we talked about, he sent me the changes, and again, this is his thing. He found some ideas that he could change it to make a little bit more structure, and kudos to you. Go ahead and talk about that.
So the current ordinance doesn't reflect anything of any acknowledgement of the Ohio Fire Code. But we do have in the ordinance that we adopted the Ohio Fire Code. When you look, and then to go back, when you looked at our webpage and went under the fire department and looked under the facts portion of open burn, that had some language that was dealing with the fire code, the Ohio Fire Code. So to try to keep the muddy water a little clearer, I proposed if we go into the current ordinance under section C, open burning in restricted area, and add under section C, open burn restricted area, subsection B, article 3, which would be, the last article on here is, they shall have a total fuel area of 3 feet or less in diameter and 2 feet or less in height. I want to add Article 4, they need to be compliant with current edition of Ohio Fire Code. Article 5, any bonfire authorized open burn can be ordered to be extinguished by local authority if having jurisdiction, which is us, if deemed to be unsafe. This includes incidents involving weather-related issues. So high winds, anything like that we would have the discretion, and nobody can challenge us and say, well, I don't think it's that windy, but yet we do, and then we get into a confrontation or a debate of whether we think it's windy or not. It's our call. 6, any open burn that is determined to be in violation of the city open burn ordinance will be subject to ordinance 686.05, notice of nuisance or repeated nuisance services, which goes into that
Chronic
3
nuisance.
incidents within that 180 days so that they can be cited within the city by violation of ordinance. I think this kind of marries
Everything.
everything.
So hopefully that will give them more, a little bit more teeth in this ordinance, and maybe some happier residents if they need it, if some, unsafe situations do arise through the summertime months.
And so those changes you just recited, are the clerk has them so that the
Yes.
He
law
sent 'em to
director
her,
can
yes.
help?
Yes.
Okay, good. Any questions or concerns about this?
Just one. In number 4, it says the current edition, that's ADDITI1. Is that meant to be edition as in like the edition number ED?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
It's
just a minor
yeah,
typo.
My bad.
All right.
Well check didn't get that, or at least me putting it, sorry.
All right, just wanted to make sure. I didn't know if there's something special about that, so.
That's my.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Do you want to put this?
Yeah,
on
this can be a
consent agenda?
consent agenda.
Yeah.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with JD Striping. This is from Streets and Sidewalks. Mr. Harper?
Yeah, this is our annual striping and marking program that we do every year. Pretty straightforward.
Questions, comments? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Consent.
Consent agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the 2025-2026 SALT Consortium. Mr. Harper, your committee?
Again, this is something that we do every year. It's sharing our salt with other entities around the city. And they do pay for the salt being used.
Questions or concerns about SALT? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Consent agenda?
Consent, yeah.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Verdantis for a utilities rate study. This is from the Utilities Committee, Mr. Moskin.
Yes, this is a study that will be done primarily between water and wastewater to determine exactly if the rates that are being charged are proper or if they need to be changed. They'll look at every aspect of the departments, pricing of chemicals, I mean, you name it, they're going to analyze everything as an expression with a fine-tooth comb, just to make sure that everything is exactly where it should be. This study hasn't been done, it's been many, many years, I'll say.
Mr. Finney, so given the price tag to just upgrade the wastewater facility, is that part of this calculation?
Yes, it should be. Yes, I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the contract notes for
It
that
was
too.
quite the lengthy contract.
If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have told you, but I don't remember right off.
Okay.
But I do believe that's part of the whole purpose of
Right, they did the.
pushing the study is
Yeah, they did
to
the
determine-
evaluation of the wastewater treatment plant and,
an element of funding could be raising the rates.
okay. Questions or comments? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Ordinance.
Would you like to put this on the consent agenda?
Yes, consent.
Next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a gas aggregation agreement. This is also from Utilities, Mr. Moskin?
Well, to my knowledge so far, then there is not a definite company chosen at this point. The only thing that there might be is if we wanted to go with a flexible rate until fall, that's the only option at this point.
We not get, I thought we have a contract in our packet,
The
From
contract is
Archer.
for Archer,
right?
but I
thought we
thought
were
we
gonna-
were also trying to get the, what's it, IGS needed more
IGS,
time.
Do we know if we heard back from them yet?
I don't know.
Uh,
Did Mr. Content tell us whether or not they were forthcoming with a contract? I don't remember.
I know
he
they
said
were
he
in the,
couldn't be here tonight.
in the process, but it's not finished.
So, Are we ready? Does council feel ready to have this on a vote for the regular meeting in May?
Does this contract with Archer say what the price is?
That's a,
It's variable.
Just complete variable
Just a
rate?
5-cent discount?
So that could change.
No, I think it's an additional 5 cents over the SCO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not,
No, I'm just saying it's not a discount.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how they would
I know,
phrase discounts.
I know. But then, I think, I can't remember the exact timing, but we'd have to accept a fixed rate sometime before, I think, October or so, I think.
yeah,
what
it is
Mr. Content-
October.
And I don't know how that works. I mean, how do we negotiate when we already have a contract? You know what I mean? Like, where's the negotiation part? They're gonna tell us a fixed rate in October, and I think we're stuck with it, right?
I think
Well-
we're stuck with Archer at that point.
Yeah, that's
through
what I mean.
March, Yeah.
I don't know how we
Plus
negotiate.
with the option to fix through March 2027.
I mean, there are
You can always just stay with what we have.
other companies that are offering fixed
No, I mean,
rates,
like Archer, stay with.
right? And that little table that Mr. Content sent us, AEP has 12 months for 6.39. You know, a lot of times these things are just a crapshoot, right? You don't know whether, we could accept a 3-year contract with AEP for 589, and we could be geniuses, you know, down the road when the prices skyrocket. Or we could be stuck with a much higher rate if prices go down. So I don't really know what to do with stuff like this, to be honest with you. But I believe Mr. Bellish, our broker, is pointing us, at least was pointing us towards Archer. I don't really know where we stand with IGS. But
Go ahead.
tell your name and address.
Cliff Soto, 464 Woodland Street. As I asked the last time, Paul, and I didn't get to talk to you, did we address with our lawyer to see if we can write a contract this time where they have to go bankrupt before they can screw us? Is
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
possible? And basically, that's what they did. I got my notice today in the mail. I don't know if you guys got your letter or not from the old company.
I got it via
But
email.
they made it quite clear to me they were doing me a great favor by dropping us. Okay.
Oh, you got a letter from P&G?
Yeah.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
mine from, it's called Enbridge,
Yeah, Enbridge is sending out notifications, because
which
I've
I
had a
think
lot
is
of
going to be
residents
confusing to
calling.
our residents who don't know what's going
Right.
on.
So I just, are we doing anybody any favors here? The gentleman that told us, what's his name again?
Mr. Bellish.
Mr. Bellish, he didn't do us any favors last time. So we're going to listen to him as the gospel this time. That's interesting.
Well, that's why I'm not exactly sure myself. I don't have enough information to even suggest which way, because as your comment, haven't heard anything from our law director it's been a while.
Just as a thought, last year when we signed for like $390 something?
390s, yeah.
Okay, at the same time you signed that, my sister did her own and got it for, how much? $310. For a year. That was for a year, not 2 years. But you see, are they doing us any favors here?
It's a good question. Everything is timing. The other contracts that other municipalities around us have signed were better rates than we got.
It's my thought, though, that if you went to a cross-section of the citizens in this town and you asked them about it, they'd have no idea what you're talking about.
I agree.
Yes.
Okay?
And they get
so they're
letters.
following what we do here, and we're not sure that we're doing them any favors.
I agree. I don't,
That's it.
yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, you'd always think that an aggregation program, because there's a group buying in, will give you a favorable rate, but if you're savvy enough to go out on the market on your own, you could certainly get a better rate. There's no doubt about that.
Is it,
I've had residents calling and asking how they know if they're included in the aggregate.
Well, you have to opt
Because-
out.
Well, sort of, but I opted out probably 20 years ago and opted back in, but it was a nightmare to
Yes,
figure out
we
how
did
to
this-
opt back
We did
in
the same thing.
a few years ago.
Because it was just such a headache trying to go out and get, because, you forget, and then the next thing you know, you're bumped up to some higher rate. And yeah, I agree. It is hard to get back in.
So it would be nice to kind of have a Q&A for our residents to so that they could look at their bills, they could understand whether they're included still in the aggregate, whether at some point they've opted out, whether they want to opt back in, just some direction, because it was very confusing to figure that out.
Yeah. I think the most efficient way would be through our water bill, some sort of communication. And it's certainly not an area I'm expert in, so I don't know what the right advice is. I'll be honest with you.
I think we need to ask Semino to draft up a letter to go along with, by us signing this contract, what this means to them, or, some type of legal verbiage to go along with whatever we submit.
I'm sure we
And
could ask
something,
him.
something
I don't-
has to be done then,
Yeah,
you
but I
know?
don't know. I mean, look, these are big companies.
I know.
They could just say to us, well, we're not going to sign that contract.
Yeah, I mean, and even in the one they have here, so when you're looking at Article 10 for default and early termination, to Cliff's point, if bankruptcy of either party is one of the things that can get you out of the agreement. Otherwise, 30 days notice for upon the occurrence of a regulatory event.
Yeah.
That's an vague term that I'm not particularly familiar with, but otherwise, written agreement between both parties, or failure to, essentially a breach of contract, force majeure kind of stuff.
Yeah, it seems to be a big, huge loophole. And I don't see that PUCO, who is supposed to be sort of like regulating these companies, doesn't seem to have a whole lot of regulatory power when a company can just declare a market deviation and then just exit out of a whole bunch of contracts.
It does remind me of The Office when Michael Scott just declares bankruptcy by saying it out loud.
Said it out
so.
loud. Yeah, only way that's simple.
It's like, I don't think it works that way.
Well, what do you guys, I mean, we do have a sort of a time, now, as I understand it, if we do absolutely nothing, let's say we don't even have an aggregated program, all our residents just fall into this SCO standard, and, or they can negotiate their own. So, I don't know, my worry is that the longer we wait to do something, the more residents pull out of the gas aggregation program.
And the longer you wait in the season, often the higher the prices are. So if we're trying to
lower,
purchase and we wait till later in the season, most people have locked in.
And some residents don't even understand how to negotiate, or that's why they are in this, because they just want to deal with what the city's doing and pay their bills and go on, or, you know, so I think we do owe it to them to at least do our justice of
Putting something in.
place, absolutely.
It just seems odd a little bit too, that the contract we have from the supplier is the only supplier that's giving us a variable rate. Everybody else, all the other suppliers on the list, minus IGS, has a fixed term for 12, 24, 36 months. And the only contract we have is for the variable rate. And then, you know, as Mr. Coffey said, what is that current variable rate? I mean, what's it starting out at? I
It
don't see
changes
in
every
this.
month.
I understand that, but where are we starting?
I guess that
What's
depends on
yeah, what is the rate we're starting at, though?
I don't have the, I was looking at the
I don't see it in the
website.
contract. So
No.
we could sign something and they can come back and say, oh, the current rate's 7.25 or something.
It could be, I
If
don't,
it's not in there and we can't see it, how can I agree to that?
yeah, but you can go to the Enbridge website and you can see what the rates are historically and currently. And I think that's just, that's their default, that's what they go with, and then it'll be 5 cents above that. But, I mean, maybe the reason they didn't put it in, like, what the rate is now is because they don't know when we're going to actually sign up. Because the rate could change and they don't want us, you know, assuming that's the rate. But I agree, I mean, I didn't notice until you said that was the only one that's not purely a fixed rate. But I guess what Mr. Bellish would tell you is over the summer months, there's such low demand that even a higher rate is not going to cost our residents as much as when the winter months come. I don't know, you know, maybe you don't buy into that argument, I don't know. But obviously, I think we're all kind of floundering a little bit because I think we need guidance, and I don't know that anybody's giving us real good guidance.
Well, with all fairness, Tim is not here, so I think we should just continue with, I mean, I don't want to hold up anything either. So in all fairness, I think we should continue moving forward. Tim, if we have any additional questions or stuff that we need before our council meeting, give Tim, you know, Tim, I think, comes back tomorrow. And in the meantime, also reach out to Frank and move it forward until, you know, the next meeting.
Well, the default position of moving it forward doesn't do any harm.
I mean, it's
Put it on the
continue.
agenda and we could not vote on it, so.
Right.
I think that makes the most sense. Any more discussion, or are you ready to make a decision here?
I think that's the prudent path moving forward, too.
Okay.
Right.
So what's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah, we will not put this on the consent agenda.
No.
All right, the last item on our agenda is an ordinance authorizing the execution of then and now certificates. This is from our finance director, Ms. Lawrence.
Yes, this is kind of a housekeeping item at this point. There's a few of them on here this month. Again, a couple of them were a generator that was an emergency purchase for wastewater. And then one of them was a service agreement, that sometimes those don't get caught at the beginning of the year and a PO put forward. But we just need to get these certified for our state auditors.
Any questions? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
This on the consent?
Consent.
Yes.
I wanted to mention, we got communication from the state auditor, I think it's the state auditor,
Yes,
regarding fraud risk.
Yes,
We
thank
all
you.
have, I filled out mine and sent it in, so I encourage you all to, I mean, unless you're aware of any specific fraud problems, it's really not that complicated to fill out.
no, it's the same one that you had last year, so if you need any,
I think it's something we have to do
Let me
every
know.
year, right?
yes.
Because I remember doing it quite a few times.
And yeah, they're looking to have that by Friday, May 23rd.
Yes, they are
week
due by
from
this
Friday.
Friday, so if anybody has a reason that they can't get to it, let me know.
I was so soft in doing that, I don't understand.
Bringing the
Very
house
powerful
down
file
here.
cabinet.
Okay,
Thank you, Rob.
I don't-
Thank you for bringing that up, though.
yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I don't believe there's anything else we have on our agenda, so can we get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
What are you doing?
Matt, I have yours.
I thought somebody